I wanted to hear your story. We're on the Your Healthier Story. It's always about your story. You were an ER physician, probably the furthest thing away from someone that's into bioenergetics, quantum medicine as can be, I think. But let's talk about how'd you get from the ER into doing something within bioenergetics and this really cool looking futuristic device?
Yeah, Caspar, that's a really good question. And it's one of those stories where the universe takes you and you just follow it along. And that's how it went. So, rewind. It's probably about 9 years ago now. I'm sitting in the emergency room. And if you've if you've ever been in a real emergency room, it's nothing like ER, the show. It's nothing like the TV shows, right? It's like there's a whole bunch of just kind of routine stuff that's constantly coming in the background. And then every once in a while, you get some like really acute person. So
Hmm.
it's a pretty busy place. And we had a couple of those really acute people. And I looked over to one of my PAs, really smart guy, and he could just tell I had that look on my face. We all talked about like, there's got to be something better. And he finally said it. He's like, what we're doing isn't working.
Mm,
And it's like,
that hits home.
yeah, you're not kidding, Ryan. So, so he pitched this idea and he's like, there's nothing like this direct primary care stuff on our side of the Mississippi, maybe a little bit in, concierge medicine, but that was like almost 10 years ago. Right. And he pitched this idea, like, let's set a couple of these up. So lo and behold, like being a little bit entrepreneurial, being a little bit discontent, that's what we did. We created a couple of those, did a blueprint how to kind of run your own shop. And we started doing things differently, got out of the insurance, just spinning, rotating wheel that doesn't go
Yep.
anywhere. And then a couple years later, we realized, we just created a faster wheel.
Mm,
So we're spinning, but we're just spinning faster, more efficiently, right? But that made us work harder. So we're like, oh, we got to add something here. So what do you turn to? You turn to what's the forefront of medicine, which was genetics.
hmm
And I joined a group really early on. We had a precision genetics practice. We set up our own testing. We basically set up this thing where through AI, you would look at a person's genome plus their lifestyle, plus all their biomarkers. You smash it together and you create this giant report. And so we'd get all the answers, right? Well, as it turns out, that's not exactly how it works either. Genes are just the blueprint, and you realize pretty quickly that more data doesn't necessarily equal better data.
Yep.
And that's what turned my eye onto this idea of what runs the genetics.
Epigenetics, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Totally. And that is when it clicked. I started studying quantum physics. I started applying physics principles into the practice, and I started applying, mind-body medicine. And you realize very, very quickly that there's this whole software system that runs the hardware system. And somewhere in between there, if you were to draw this Venn diagram, you have the sweet spot. And that sweet spot is the bioenergetic system. It's the interplay of the energy and the matter. And we know, quantum physics, like 1940s, 1950s, E equals mc squared. It's all energy. It's all vibration. That stuff is ancient wisdom, but it's also like really hard science.
Yeah.
However, it takes medicine a long time to adopt
hmm
all those theories, right? And you slowly started to see it in radiology, but then the lights went on and the switches clicked. And I realized, oh gosh, what these ancient, like mostly Eastern practices we're talking about, like Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine, was the software.
hmm
And what we're talking about on allopathic world is the hardware.
Yeah.
And they're not actually diametrically opposed, they actually overlap quite well, but along a continuum with the common science being physics, not chemistry.
Right.
And that is how I got into this. I started chasing what works, what doesn't work. Had some really cool stories. Probably the best one is my daughter. She's got spina bifida. And I saw this physician. He's an MD, does nothing but acupuncture. And he basically created a circuit using meridian channels to connect two nerves that had never touched. If you know anything about spina bifida, you've got a defect here. So spine works here, spine works down there, but there's a defect here. And using these channels, he created a bypass, and all of a sudden these muscles and nerves started firing that didn't fire before.
hmm
And you can't unsee that. So That's a really, really shorthand of how I got here, and you can't unsee that. So then my mind immediately goes, okay, well, I'm not only can I not unsee this, but I'm obligated to apply this. I feel like it's my duty or calling, whatever you will, to share this. And hence, we've got things like the chamber and other technologies, stuff that we've seen that works, that a cool group of people who have also had similar experiences come together and we create tech that helps people achieve their maximum health.
It's a fascinating story because to go from the ER biochemical world of conventional medicine and actually break through, it's a rarity because I know this. My father was one who started off anesthesia, also pain services at a big hospital, and got a little frustrated and saw the same, like, this isn't working. The revolving door of pills, surgeries, and everything is not the answer, he said. And so he went on his own journey around the world and learned about, bioenergetics, quantum fields, and all these other things, and saw it being applied in many different ways. And this was back in the 80s. But even then, it was really took a lot for someone to break free of the conventional grip.